Yeah, it's amazing to feel the energy to meet people again. It's always great to exchange ideas informally. Everything had been very formal and organized in the Zoom call days, but it's very nice to be back and meeting people again. So we've been in the D2C e-commerce space now for almost a decade, and we've seen it evolve from very early days of trying to get your first few orders to now where businesses are scaling and growing and also beginning to advertise actively. What we've seen over the years is that the data that is being generated by each of these brands across their multiple channels they sell across the multiple channels they advertise in has just grown exponentially. And this data is now very difficult to manage manually. It's very difficult to analyze. Even with the best analysts and the best marketeers, there's always a likelihood that you missed something. And I think that is what is now, taking us into an era where a lot of these decisions will be algorithm driven, right? So that includes how to spend your money on ads. That includes what kind of inventory to keep, where to keep it, and also pricing and promotions and all of these decisions. I think it's gone to a point where they can't be made manually just because of the number of variables, and that's leading us into an era of what we call as algorithmic e-commerce. Yeah, so this goes across multiple decisions that any company needs to make, right? Time to delivery is one factor, but it is just one factor. There are many others, right? Quality of product, quality of service, and several other things that need to be factored in when you decide on business models, when you decide on ad spends, when you decide on product and merchandising. So our role in this is to make sure that this decision making is as much data driven as possible. There will always be human gut and human intelligence that goes above and beyond the data, but at least the mundane everyday decisions that have to be made need to now be more data centric. So coming back to the consumer experience problem, right? They have a lot of, every consumer has a lot of choice today, multiple options to pick from. And the big problem to solve for any company is how to retain these customers, how to scale these customers. And that's kind of what, what we are going to require. Yeah, so the three focus areas, and I'm going by the three focus areas for us as well, because we like to think of ourselves as a partner of the retailer and trying to get him to grow. Number one is lifetime value, understanding the entire lifetime interactions of a consumer with you. And they could be across multiple touch points, offline, online, marketplace, your own website. And how do you optimize across all of that? So I think that should be the number one focus area, right? Number two is always going to be ad spend optimization. So if that being one of the largest costs for every brand, large or small, how do you most effectively use that to make sure that you can not only bring in new consumers, new customers for your brand, but also how can you increase the value from the ones you already have. So how do you spend on that? And the third is experience, finally. So when they land on your website, when they land on your page on Amazon, what happens and how can you optimize that to increase the likelihood of buying? I think these are the three main focus areas, at least I see into the next quarter or two.